China's President Xi Jinping has signed dozens of agreements with Vietnam, including trade deals, as the tariff dispute with the US continues. His visit to Hanoi is part of a long-planned trip through Southeast Asia. China is currently facing 145% duties imposed by US President Donald Trump. The Chinese leader called for stronger ties with Vietnam. He's also visiting Malaysia and Cambodia this week. Huong is the Deputy Director of the Asia Programme at the International Crisis Group, a think tank. She joins me now from Brisbane in Australia. Now, China says this visit has been planned for weeks now. Is it just a coincidence that she arrives in the middle of a trade war?
Well, timing is everything in strategy, isn't it? I think it is a really opportune moment for China to be harnessing this moment when every country in the world, especially those affected by the tariff, especially developing Asia, which is majority of Southeast Asia, majority of ASEAN region, are very anxious about the path forward. So it is a great opportunity to make diplomatic statement for Xi Jinping, to emphasize Chinese stable position, a stable role, and a constant power in the region, and to be harnessing what he said, to collectively trying to have collective response against unilateral coercive actions that the US has been imposing with those tariffs. At least those are the objectives from the Chinese point of view.
Talking about the US tariffs, President Trump claims the meeting in Vietnam was about hurting the US. But will this visit hurt Vietnam's relations with the US?
Well, judging from this initial response, President Trump may read it so, especially that he harbors suspicion of any countries and any economies taking advantage of the United States, and he looks at developing economies, manufacturing and exporting economies such as Southeast Asia, such as Vietnam, but also, of course, China as doing so. In his interpretation, this is hurting Americans' economy. China, of course, is responding in kind, also reacting with retaliatory tariffs. But I don't think Vietnam is in the position to hurt the United States in any way. Exports to the United States have been really important for Vietnam's economic growth and development. It cares about the diplomatic, strategic defense relations with the United States that had been improving over the recent years. It recently signed comprehensive strategic partnership with tail end of the Biden administration as well. So it is also trying very hard to mitigate any bad feelings from Trump administration, trying to invest in the United States with VinFast EV companies, trying to open investment to Trump golf course in Vietnam, and so on and so forth. So Vietnam is not trying to hurt America, quite the reverse. It wants to actually mitigate any bad feelings that Trump may have towards its trade surplus it has with America.
Now, she is also visiting Malaysia and Cambodia. How do those visits fit into China's bigger regional ambitions?
Well, Malaysia is very important, especially this year, because it's the chair of ASEAN. This year is its rotational chair. So by that role, it hosts most important regional gatherings, diplomatic summits. It becomes the de facto representative voice of the region. And soon after President Trump announced the tariffs, Prime Minister Anwar of Malaysia called for ASEAN to have some collective responses to those tariffs, to call for talks on security of supply chains, increasing intra-ASEAN trade, and so on and so forth. So coming up with some collective responses to these really challenging times. Cambodia, on other hands, has been really a linchpin in the China's so-called Belt and Road initiatives with flagship projects like the Funan Canal in the Gulf of Thailand, but also the Ream base. So Cambodia's relations with China has been really good, very close. It's considered one of the closest in the region. So it's actually that a very putting a cherry on the cake in terms of intramural relations that China has with the smaller neighbors in the region. So it's a very symbolic trip.
Well, we can now speak with Andrew Kam Jia Yi. He's a Malaysian economist and a professor at the National University of Malaysia. His work focuses on China's role in regional economic integration. Thanks for being with us. Professor, China says this visit has been planned for months now. Is it just a coincidence, then, that she arrives in the middle of a tariff war?
I think we should not view this visit as a reactive gesture, because we should view it in two complementary lenses. One, it reflects, for example, Malaysia and China's bilateral relationship or diplomatic ties. We celebrated Malaysia-China relationship, a 50-year relationship last year. And also our King, His Majesty Sultan Ibrahim, and also Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim both visited China last year. So this visit may also be a reciprocal gesture upon royal invitation. And the second lens, we should view it as this visit is an acknowledgement from China on Malaysia's role as the ASEAN chair, possibility of linking Malaysia or linking China with broader multilateral dialogues. So I think we should view it in that way.
So it fits into this notion of economic integration in the region, particularly from China's perspective. But could this visit end up hurting Malaysia's relations with the United States?
I don't think so. I think Malaysia and US, we are mature partners. We are friends for long. And also Malaysia has always, not only Malaysia, I think ASEAN also, we have always stand on a neutral ground, meaning that, although President Xi's visit was being somewhat celebrated, it doesn't mean that when Trump comes over, we will not celebrate, or any other leaders. So I don't think it will hurt any relationship. It's just a matter of navigating some of the sensitive issues like technology and so forth. Also, I always have this saying, why take sides when you can take all?
Well, there's geopolitical rivalry, obviously, between the United States and China at this point. There's a trade war raging, launched by U.S. President Trump. Is Malaysia not under pressure to pick a side in this?
Oh, no. Like I mentioned just now, Malaysia always take the center position. We are neutral. I think US understand that as well, and China also understand that as well. Being said that, of course, President Xi's visit, nothing is off the table, and Malaysia or US, we are friends with each other, and we can openly discuss easy and difficult questions. I think it's more about dialogue. So far we have not been asked to take any positions at the moment. Yeah.
Professor, thank you very much for talking with us today. That was Malaysian economist Andrew Kam Jia Yi.
Thank you so much.